I know that life's been hard. I'm trying to make it easier for you. I'm trying to make it easier, easier. Trying to make it easier. I know that things been tough. I'm trying to make it easier for you. I'm trying to make it easier, easier.
Are you ready?
You're watching One Piece, but what about the missing pieces of our history, Kang?
I mean, you think this is funny? You think this is funny? Watching Demon Slayer while our people are being demonetized and slain in these streets? Well, hi there, Queen. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, Queen. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and and while you're watching My Hero Academia, you should really be enrolled into wife school.
Young Midoriya is right. Instead of you focusing on being all for one, you're out here in these streets being one for all.
Don't forget to tell her we was Kangs, Deku! We was Kangs!
Calm down.
I met a Japanese Hotep man outside of the Meiji Shrine in Tokyo. I couldn't escape. Of course you couldn't escape. See, the problem is you don't understand your place, Queen. You're busy watching anime. But that will never animake. You a housewife. Where's your melanin bride? And your hair, it's not even seasoned with overpriced oils. Where's the shea butters? Where's the sea moss? You hear me, Kakarot? We was Kangs!
Master says you are watching One Punch Man. But you are punching the clock for the man.
I am the Sea Kang. For thousands of years, me and my legion of sea monsters have provided you land dwellers with bountiful sea moss and questionable herbal products. I taught Dr. Sabi everything he knew.
Yeah, I got it. It's raining out, so let's get this over with. Alright, Genos, listen up. And this goes for the rest of you. I'm gonna reveal to you my secret training regimen. And if you follow this, you'll be just as strong as I am. 100 seeded grapes, 100 tablespoons of sea moss, and 100 ounces of alkaline water. Consume it every single day! And stay away from broccoli!
But the point is, they're mixing two different type of individuals, and that's the problem. This
two different like genres,
right? And you can't do that. You can't mix it and then say this is what it is. That's why they had so much problems in this in their whole teaching thing. Pharaoh, I told you, is possessed, and what happens is we all got spirits attached to us. But when he went down there, he's being lustful.
Didn't you say alcoholism was a type of spirit?
Yeah,
that's why they call it wine spirits.
Bacchus, I think. No, Dionysus is the god of drink. Bacchus is the god of drugs or the narcotics god. So, but the point is, him being in a low vibration already, we call that in Noon Leviathan. It's a sex force. So this is why you seeing all of this stuff happening around the world, whether it's in the transgenderism or lesbianism, whatever. All these people, the rap, hip hop, you always see that same thing: sex, drugs, and murder. In Hollywood, they had all that plus the possession. They got two movies coming out later on this month. One called The Rise and Fall of the Dead, or The Rise of the Dead, and another one called the Pope's Exorcism. So
I seen a trailer for a movie where it's about the angel come down and he's supposed to fight the devil.
Well, I don't know about that one, but I know the one that played he played Superman's father in Man of Steel, and he also played in
father?
I can't think of his name, but he's playing
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, right? Russell Crowe was playing some type of pope. I guess they updating a different version of The Exorcist, but it's true because the Roman Catholic Church is full of demonic spirits.
Oh yeah.
The site that Rome was built on, or the Vatican rather, is an old Hindu temple where they worship.
I'm gonna add a little more content and context to what I just spoken about the Vatican and its Hindu origins and a temple to Lord Shiva. All right, this is posted by Shank Na, June 14, 2014. Articles on Hinduism. It says Rome's church compound is in the shape of a Shiva lingam. All right, so this is the Vatican from a side view, and this is the Shiva lingam. Has Vatica, which is you can see that that's where they get the Vatican from, became Vatican. Christ came from Krishna. Is it all one big plagiarism by the West? All religions are one and are derived from Vedic Santanam Dharma. Famous historian P.N.O. claimed that the word Vatican originally came from the Sanskrit word Vatika, and that Christianity came from the Sanskrit word Krishna Niti, ethics of Krishna, or the way of Krishna, and that Abraham came from the Sanskrit word Brahma. He further claims that both Christianity and Islam originated as dissertations of Vedic beliefs. Vatican Church compound shaped as a Shiva lingam. Compare the two pictures below and you can see a striking similarity between the shapes of a Shiva linga and the Vatican Church compound. Further, if we look closely, we even see a perfect tripundra and bindu incorporated into the design. In the following pictures, let us compare the tripundra, 3 lines worn by Lord Shiva, as tilak. So this is the lingam pointed this way, and here the Vatican City pointing this way. So you can kind of see the similarities, because they got a circle in the middle of these lines, and this one's a circle in the middle of these lines. Vatican City. The word Vatican itself is derived from the Sanskrit word Vatika or Vatika, which means Vedic cultural or religious centers. In Sanskrit, the word Vatika is used to describe a place such as Ananda Vatika, Ashram Vatika, Yagna Vatika, etc. Such words and discoveries prove that the Vatican was a Hindu Vedic religious center before its incumbent was forced to accept Christianity from 1st century AD. Also, according to some reports, a Shiva linga was found during the excavation and is kept for display at Etruscan Museum in Rome. Details below. Hindustan indeed was virat. The Shiva linga at Gregorian Etruscan Museum, Vatican City, Vatica. So this is what they found when they was excavating. I don't know what year this was. I didn't go looking into it, but I did remember reading upon this a few years ago when I was doing some research on who dealing with the site where the Kayaba sits at, and they were saying some Hindu king actually had that built, but we'll dig into that later. This Shiva lingam is exhibited in Gregorian Etruscan Museum, Vatican City. This has the most important Etruscan collection in Rome, starting with the early Iron Age objects from the 9th century BC. Encyclopedia Britannica mentions under the headings Etruria and Etruscan that between the 2nd and 7th centuries BC, northern Italy was known as Etruria. During archaeological excavation, many such meteoric stones mounted on carved pedestals, Sivalinga on bases, have been discovered in Italy, and this Sivalingam was dug up from Vatican City itself. Many more must be lying buried under the Vatican's massive walls and numerous cellars. P&Oak's theories on Vedic roots of world religions. P&Oak claims that Christianity and Islam are both derivatives of Hinduism, and that the Catholic Vatican Kaaba and the Taj Mahal were once Hindu temples to Shiva. In his book, Some Missing Chapters of World History, Oak claimed that the first civilizations were developed in India, from which all world civilizations grew. He wrote books on this subject in 3 languages. Intent on rectifying what he believed to be biased and distorted versions of India's history produced by the invaders and colonizers. Oak has written several books and articles on Indian history and founded the Institute for Rewriting Indian History in 1964. According to Oak, modern sectors and Marxist historians have fabricated idealized versions of India's past and drained it of all its Vedic context and works. Of India's past and drained of its Vedic context. Oak claims that Christianity was originally a Vedic religion following Krishna, and claims that the Christianity was originally known by either the names of Krishna Niti, with Oak stating these meant the way of Krishna or the ethics of Lord Krishna. These generally fall in line with Oak's other theories and claims that the Vatican was originally called Vatica, and that the papacy originally a Vedic priesthood until Constantine the Great around 312 AD killed the Vedic pontiff and installed in his place a representative of the tiny Christian sect. Oak also makes a claim that Jesus went to India between ages 13 and 30 to learn Christianity from sages. Alright, so when you deal and dig into Noon and all, there's plenty of videos I done presented based on the works of Afro Unu and Jipu and Sipu, and Afro Unu is Amanu Rakapatar writings, the Bible interpretations written in 67 and 68, talk about how the Caucasian race, originally parent race, is the Indians or the Hindus, and that they were Hinduism was what they were studying and believing in until it got modified for the Caucasian race, and this is what took place over a couple thousand years. It take 1,000 years to do that because people took 1,000 years to get to that point. So Christianity is a modified version of a little bit of Judaism and Hinduism. You understand? But the Hinduism predate Judaism, and Judaism got a lot of the information out of Kemet, but it still was modified and stuff like that. So, and also the word Caucasian has the word Asian in it, so they know who they derive from. All right. So what we are about to do now I'm gonna show you 2 videos, very important, of how the Kaaba, right, which is the black stone. We're gonna talk about this right here. I'm gonna show you 2 videos where you're gonna see different people walking around kissing the black stone in here. And I want you to notice this shape. I want you to see this. I'm gonna show you one video showing this, and then I'm gonna show you another video in Mecca. You're gonna see this, the lingam is in there, and they're gonna be kissing that. And that's mean there's a problem, and somebody is switching out the Kaaba. And this right here, the fact that you're gonna see this shape in the Kaaba in the corner proves that they're still worshiping Krishna and those Hindu deities on the low. All right, so stay tuned for that. 2 minute call to peace and wartime.
بليز عبد الله اطلع قدام مع فهد. عبد الله فهد تمام تكمل سيب شيء بعد هناك بعد هناك سوري اوكي بليز
Tremendous peace in wartime. Alright, so I want y'all to be clear that what they're kissing is not the corner of the Kaaba, okay? So we're gonna watch this again and I'm gonna show you something else. Alright, so as you can see, this is the ligma, the ligum. This is definitely not what the Kaaba looks like at the bottom. This is the Shiva ligum that these Muslims are kissing. See, its color is gray, right? Y'all can see that. So now we know that somebody in Mecca is playing games that got power, and most people probably ain't paid it no attention. Now look. All right, this is from something that I found. It says rare picture shows the Kaaba without its kiswa covering, so you can see it. There's no gray on here. This is, bricks. You can see that. This is a 1940 rare picture. So y'all gotta understand the games ain't just being played in Christianity. Just like Judaism, when they over there on that Wailing Wall, they saying that wall is not even or ever was connected to the temple that was destroyed in 70 AD. That's a whole nother occult thing that they over there doing. It's supposed to be sexual when they doing that rocking back and forth and pushing with their pelvis. That's an actual sexual ritual that they're doing. So, but anyway, this is the Kaaba. So you can see the covering on this side. So you see the covering right here, and even down here you can see the same thing. Let me try to bring it up. See, that's brick. So if that's brick, what the hell is this? What are they kissing? Look at that. You can see it's Mecca because you can see the outer side with the other people standing way in the back. You know they in there around the Kaaba. That's the ligum. That's not the Kaaba. That's not the bricks. Muslims got some explaining to do. Too many call the peas in wartime.
So it's a different it's a whole nother level with that. But the Caucasian race in general was brought in through lust and drugs, but through the Adam and Eve group. Remember, I did that. We did that show on here, like way back, and I broke down the Adam and Eve.
You're right. I know what you're talking about too.
Right, for the Gulf of Aden, and they got kicked to the Asian Islands, and I showed you how the priests and the nuns were given, the Tibetan monks 6,000 years ago had put food, Spanish fly and all that stuff in their drinks, and that's So all that energy is still here, and it's causing all these people to whack out. That's what happened to Pharaoh. Pharaoh down there having all this sex, being in low vibration already, and the ancestors perpetrating fraud with the ancestors, and even his own ancestors who's not in agreement with what he's doing. All that stuff mixed in, and he lost his mind. So what you start seeing, you start losing your mind, then you start losing friends, and you start losing home, house, and this is exactly what happened with his peak, because he fooled all of those in the conscious community, or I mean not the conscious community. He confused and fooled his watchers that gave him all his money. He claimed he's going to sue YouTube, and took all that money, just like Polite took all that money and ran to Hollywood. He took all that money and ran to Texas. All you got to do is understand the pattern of these forces, and then you can you can see how they all do the same thing. And
take the money and they move to a different area,
and then they start indulging in their lower desires. That's what gets these people in trouble. It's not just lying and misrepresenting the information and being an egomaniac and a narcissist and all of that. You can still be kind in your right mind and be a narcissist, but it's clear Pharaoh his personality is something else. His psyche is different. He's not the same. He's dressing as an Arab. I seen other videos. He was sitting on there grinding and singing songs and acting real feminine. And if you look at the old Pharaoh, he was nothing like this. So something took place, and he didn't been 180 of his old self. That's why I don't make videos on him for that because number one, you got that on Lock and Other People, but for me, even if y'all wasn't around, I wouldn't do it, because I got videos that pretty much rap a whole bunch of people. I only mention his name when it's relevant, and that's what I did on the second video I sent you with the Hotep Hustlers, where I mentioned certain individuals specifically because of certain paths that they took in the years, and they're using our leaderships that came with a certain message, and you can see that it's all about money. That's all they want. They just want to be loved and worshiped and honored, no matter how disrespectful they are, and we accept it. He wasn't the first one to be putting hands and feet, and we seen him with his baby mama. But I tell you what, everybody need to be paying attention to what the banks are doing, and they making these fake banks fail. And digital currency and all this other stuff that they trying to do to restrict you, and you see
money has the potential to destroy US dollar supremacy in the world, and it is not cryptocurrency. BRICS nation, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, formed alliance and working on implementing a joint payment network to bring in a new reserve currency based on a basket of currencies of the BRICS nation. It is meant to rival and reduce reliance on the US dollar, euro and IMF special drawing rights currency. Together, the 5 BRICS countries comprise more than 3.2 billion people, or about 40% of the world's population, account for more than 25% of global GDP, and has 16% of the share of the world trade. The BRICS member countries have also been increasing the use of local currencies in their mutual trade, as de-dollarization is a shared interest and priority for all the BRICS nations to diversify and reduce the risk of external shocks caused by their dependence on US dollar.
What banks? What banks?
The banks over there on the first bank that failed was in Silicon Valley. It was like 22 banks then so-called failed. That's the World Economic Forum, and all these people are crashing the banks on purpose. That's why everybody was distracted. See, once they start doing all this stuff, the Ohio, remember the train derailments? Last year, in November, they had like 400,000 gallons of water with nuclear waste in it leak.
A radioactive leak at a nuclear power plant right here in Minnesota.
Xcel Energy says it happened at its plant in Monticello last November. Now, contaminated water is slowly creeping toward the Mississippi River. WCCO's Alan Henry spoke with agencies about how they plan to stop it and why it took months for the public to find out.
Jeff Rowan lives about a half a mile from Xcel Energy's nuclear power plant in Monticello. He had no idea that 4 months ago, 400,000 gallons of radioactive water leaked in the facility.
Yeah, that concerns me. That somebody wouldn't have told us, especially the city should have let us know. Somebody should have let us know.
Both Xcel and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency released statements about the leak Thursday afternoon, making it public knowledge for the first time. They say on November 22nd, they discovered a pipe leaking the radioactive water and began working to fix it. Almost 4 months now. Why are people just now hearing about this?
If at any point there had been a concern for the public safety, we would, of course, immediately provided much more information, but we also wanted to make sure we fully understood what was going on before we started raising any concerns with the public around us.
Wasted a leak, and they didn't tell nobody. They just told the population like about a week or so ago. And
that's what they was talking about with the water.
Right, with the water. It was like 400.
Holy shit.
So all that didn't spill that Ohio, that ain't nothing. But all that stuff done came down. It's in the Mississippi too, and they not telling nobody that. So and they just had another derailment over there in Ohio. Something went off in Michigan 2-3 days ago. All this stuff is doing it on purpose. Remember, I was telling about the Agenda 21. One of the things they were saying in that is that to take the land, because they don't have that time. I told you they ran out of time. So now they're going to be purposely doing stuff, and you're going to be able to see it. When they poison the land, the government can come in and take the land and move the people into what they're trying to do, these 15-minute cities now.
Why has town planning become 2023's hottest conspiracy? The 15-minute city idea is really simple. It is an urban planning concept which calls for neighbourhoods to be designed so that everything you need in your daily life is no more than 15 minutes walk away. It is meant to discourage car use and encourage using local public transport and local businesses. But that is not how protesters see it.
This is the start of our freedoms being taken away.
Following on from conspiracy movements built during COVID lockdowns, many people are accusing the concept as being
deeply illiberal, un-British,
international socialist concept.
You will only have 15 minutes of freedom.
These movements claim that the aim of governments pushing 15-minute cities is to keep people confined to their homes, only allowed to leave a number of times a year. In February, thousands of protesters and conspiracy theorists gathered in central Oxford to protest plans to restrict traffic as part of the city's own 15-minute plan.
People are going to be totally controlled by the elite.
There are legitimate concerns about 15-minute cities, such as how they might displace less rich residents or how they might localise traffic in certain areas. But that is different than seeing it as an example of tyranny.
I know that life's been hard. I'm trying to make it easier for you. I'm trying to make it easier.
I have done a little bit more reading on 15-minute city that is actually going to happen. I've seen the interactive map as to where the layouts would be for the Cooksville location. Now, what they are not saying is that you will be limited to traveling out of your 15-minute district 100 times a year. And if you exceed that 100 times a year, then it is $56 per trip. So if you were to exit, it's $56, and then if you were to head back, it's another $56 that you would be paying. For any homeowners, they will be setting up what's called a smart grid. You will be getting or be asked to complete a a registration where you have to get a 40,000 loan in order to upgrade your home into a more solar efficient house. On top of that, what they are going to be doing as of from now 2023 till 2025 is they are going to get rid of any gas cars. There will be promotions up until I think 2024 where you can actually purchase an electric car. They are also going to be getting electric public transportations. And so again, I mean, they make it seem all nice and dandy, and it's such a great idea for, you know, for you to walk and take a stroll and have all these, you know, stores and locations, parks, libraries, and all these important places nearby. But this is a very dystopian, this is pure control. Once they do set up the digital ID, then and cash is no longer considered a legal tender. This is basically them monitoring you. Like, how can you go now buy eggs at a local farmer? How can you do a yard sale? How can you actually buy anything that you want? You are going to be monitored in terms of your banking. Another thing is a lot of homeowners now will not be able to afford their mortgage. You will have to do upgrades to your home to be more solar efficient and less reduce your carbon footprint. I've read the one for Mississauga, I've read the one for Ottawa, Toronto, and Edmonton, and I've seen different ways as to how they've laid it out. It's very, very similar, but what caught my eye is the $100 times per year that you are allowed to exit, and it's $56 after that. So there's going to be additional fees, and on top of that, that smart grid that you have to pay for.
If you look up 15-minute cities, that's a part of the Agenda 21 Sustainable Development Goal. They still going with that, but now they're being aggressive with the people, and Bill Gates bound up all the farmland. He bound up all the livestock. He got their own water aquifers that he already said on different occasions he's gonna put that thing in all of his stuff he owns and force you. So if you go out eating, we don't grow our own stuff.
Yeah.
Don't grow your.
Yeah, and we took all the seeds from everybody.
Right, the seeds, they manipulate everything that they can.
Well, the Gates Foundation has partnered with DFID on a great number of things, and among those are work we do together on livestock, helping animals survive either by having vaccines or better genetics, helping them be more productive. It's making a big difference. I was down in Ethiopia seeing how chickens are out there laying more eggs, getting more nutrition, and even some small savings into the household. So Edinburgh happens to be where a lot of the world's best work on this is done, and that's why DFID and the Gates Foundation are funding scientists here.